Does your cat only see you as the one who fills their bowl? Honestly, maybe. That's why so many people assume their cat's love is just hunger in disguise. But if your bond goes deeper, if your cat has truly imprinted on you, you might be something more. Not just a food dispenser, not just a familiar presence, but a parent. Some cats form attachments that go far beyond routine, and figuring out where your cat stands, somewhere between distant roommate and clingy toddler, comes down to the subtle ways they act around you. How they greet you. Your cat may not be able to speak, but the reaction your fuzzball gives you when you step through the door says more than any words could. Depending on how they see you, you're going to get a very different welcome home. Is your cat purely transactional? They only care about you for your role in feeding them? Well then, they might glance up when you enter. If you're lucky, they'll flick their tail. But before you've had a chance to say, "Hello, buddy," they've rushed off to the kitchen in eager anticipation of the dinner to come. Sure, they're happy to see you, but only because you're the gatekeeper of the calories. But an imprinted cat? One that's bonded with you? One that sees you as more like a mother or father than just a personal chef? If your cat is that half of the binary, there's a whole world of difference in how they welcome you home, because they greet you with behaviors that aren't food-driven at all. They might weave around your legs before you even move toward the food bowl. They might even flop dramatically onto their side, exposing their belly, a well-known and classic display of trust that has literally nothing to do with food. Dr. John Bradshaw notes that cats who greet their owners by rolling over have an incredibly strong social bond and are doing this as an invitation to interact, like openly asking for a hug. So that's not just a demand for food, is it? The key here is to notice where they guide you first. Do they run to the kitchen and stare at the cupboard? Or do they stay glued to you, trying to keep contact as you move around the house? If your cat follows you without leading you to food, that's a pretty big sign that their flagrant show of affection has nothing to do with food and is purely because they adore you. But of course, it's also about how they treat you when you're already home. Social referencing. While it's easy to think of our cats as goofy little fools, they actually study us with such intensity and vigor, you'd think they were taking an exam about us in the morning. And what they do with the data they're collecting hinges massively on what they think of us. If your cat sees you as little more than a food provider, well, to be honest, they're doing nothing with what they learn. That absent-minded watching is truly absent-minded, fully independent. They don't care about what they've learned about you because they're just sticking around for snack time. But a bonded cat may well be less independent. Dr. Vitale's groundbreaking 2019 study, published in Current Biology, found that cats engage in something called social referencing. That means they're studying us for a very important reason. They look to their humans to gauge how to react to new situations. They need to learn from you how to process the world. If they see you as a mom or dad, that means that they've imprinted on you, and you've become their emotional compass through the choppy waters that are life. No pressure. If your cat stares at you when a new noise happens, or glances at your face when they encounter something unfamiliar, they're not just being nosy. They're asking, "Is this safe, Mom? Should I worry?" So next time your cat freezes and locks eyes with you when the neighbor drops something upstairs, don't just shrug it off. That's not random. That's a sign they see you as their trusted reference point. And that is the exact same role a kitten's mom plays in their early life. So it is quite the honor. The post-bath or post-grooming behavior. When it comes to bathing, imprinted cats do something very surprising. Sometimes that goes all the way back to kittenhood. Think bathing your cat is just about keeping them clean? Think again. If you, for whatever reason, were incapable of bathing yourself and needed someone else to help you with it, that'd be a deeply vulnerable experience, wouldn't it? An emotionally charged event in many ways. Your cat feels the same. That's why, after bathing them or even just giving them a good brushing, it's important to keep an eye out and watch what they do next. Because how they choose to react in the moments following such a vulnerable exchange will reveal how they see you. If, to your cat, you are little more than a food dispenser, then post-bathing or grooming, they'll probably just slink away, possibly retreating to a cozy little corner to call their own, where they will wrap up the grooming process alone. But an imprinted cat? Dr. Bradshaw also points out that many adult cats retain the tendency to return to a trusted figure for comfort after experiencing stress, a behavior originating from kittenhood. That's why, straight after a bath, they will rush into your arms immediately. They may rub their head against you, knead you, or even follow you from room to room. Why? Because just like kittens run back to their mothers after being cleaned, imprinted cats look to you for reassurance after a mildly stressful or vulnerable experience. And our cats can even reveal what we mean to them, why they're not awake. The sleeping position test. Do you like someone? Well then, you might be willing to share a bed with them. Dislike someone to the point it makes you violently angry? Well then, you're not going to share a bed with them, are you? Simple. Well, why would your cat be any different? According to feline experts, kittens instinctively huddle against their mother's side for security and warmth. But adult cats? They tend to replicate this behavior with humans. Makes sense. But only those that they're deeply bonded with. Makes even more sense. But a transactional cat, who's only into you for the treats? They might still nap near you, sure. But if we're blunt about this, it's simply because the blanket is soft, or the spot happens to be warm. What with it being a bed and everything. But an imprinted cat? They choose positions that mirror the aforementioned kitten mother behavior. Dr. Bradshaw describes how if your cat sleeps with their back pressed against you or curls into a protective position near your torso, that's a sign that they feel not just comfortable, but safe enough to let their guard down completely. And Pam Johnson Bennett writes in her book, Think Like a Cat, that where a cat sleeps in relation to you is one of the most apparent signs of how much they trust you. Available. Cats that feel emotionally attached will choose contact points that allow for both protection and quick interaction. And while we're on the subject of interaction, the toy and gift offering. I don't know, some weird hunting thing. If I asked you to guess why cats think it's socially acceptable to dump a dead animal at your feet, that's what you might imagine, right? And to be fair, you'd be onto something. Dr. Dennis Turner, the renowned feline behaviorist, wrote in The Domestic Cat, The Biology of Its Behavior, that adult cats will often attempt to share food with we humans to try to teach us to hunt, as holdovers of those hunting and maternal instincts. But there's a big difference between a cat casually leaving prey around the house and deliberately placing it near you with intent. A cat with a "you're just here to feed me, silly flesh beast" outlook on life may still bring dead prey into the house, but they'll dump it all over the place with no care about who has to tidy things up, like a rock star in a hotel room. If they bring prey into the home, they will eat and play with it in their own space. But imprinted cats, they want you involved in this shared ritual. If your cat brings you a toy or carefully places prey in your vicinity, it's not because they think you're bad at hunting and need lessons, though that's a popular joke. Much more likely, it's a gesture of social bonding, similar to how mothers share prey with kittens, something they'd only do for someone they see as a mother or father or someone similar. So as weird as this sounds, if your cat murders in secret, they like you less than if they proudly invite you to witness the corpse. Looking away. The connection between two living creatures does not always look as we might expect it to look, especially when the customs of two different species are at play. Our cats enjoy sitting with us. Let's say your cat is sitting with you right now. Are they staring right at you, keeping a watch on you? probably feels more respectful, more loving, than if they rudely turn their back on you, right? Weirdly, perhaps not. Sure, our cats do watch us diligently because they love us, because they study us. But according to Pam Johnson Bennett, a more bonded cat might actually turn their back on you, because she mentions that cats that position themselves with their back to you are actually showing that they feel so safe with you, they feel no need to monitor for danger. Whereas an unbonded cat may still feel the need to keep an eye on you, just in case. Kittens do this with their mothers once they're old enough to feel protected. Instead of facing her constantly for reassurance, they position themselves outward, trusting she's there to keep them safe from behind. But when they are looking directly at you, there are clues in how they look that can help you figure out what your cat thinks of you. The slow blink. Slow blinks are as integral to a cat as tomato is to a pizza. Probably a bad example as white pizza exists, but you know what I mean. And if you're unfamiliar with the term, slow blinks are that half-closed, sleepy-eyed look your cat gives you when they're feeling calm. It might seem like an innocuous little face twitch, but it's actually something that pretty much all experts in cats think is comparable to a kiss or hug from a cat's point of view. Dr. Karen McComb, whose research specializes in feline communication, has a lot of interesting things to say on this. Some work of hers, published back in 2020 in Scientific Reports, found that cats use slow blinking specifically as a form of social bonding. She went on to explain that slow blinking sequences in cats are associated with positive emotional states and can be seen as a form of communication toward a bonded partner. So a transactional cat? Sure, they might toss you a cheeky little slow blink from time to time. Just because their dynamic with you is all about hoovering up the delicious snacks you dispense, it doesn't mean they don't love you in a way. But they do it sort of randomly. They throw them out here and there with abandon. But a bonded cat gets a lot more specific with when they're willing to dish out the affection. They pair slow bliss with key emotional moments. If your cat slow blinks right after you feed them, that might still be food-driven gratitude. But if they do it after you've groomed them, after you've sat quietly with them, or even after you've comforted them during a thunderstorm, that's a deeper emotional acknowledgement. How you know they are really bonded is if sometimes they slow blink back if you are the one to initiate it. If you're willing to risk it not working and having your heart broken, try it next time you're sitting with your cat. If they return the slow blink after a quiet bonding moment, that's a great way of proving that you are so much more to them than just a walking, talking appetizer delivery service. Following, but not begging behavior. Now, this is a classic habit all cats do, but an imprinted cat does it in a very different way. You'll definitely want to check if your cat does it. You go to the kitchen and your cat follows. You go to the bathroom and your cat follows. Office, your cat follows. Billiards room, dungeon, secret laboratory, or game room, there's your cat at your heels, like a pint-sized fluffy shadow. It's logical to assume this is happening because they want food. So they need to be where you are because it's your opposable thumbs that can rip open the food packets. And yes, there are times when you're basically nothing but a walking can opener to them. But as mentioned, there's a specific remix to stalking you that only truly bonded cats do. Instead of meowing insistently or pacing toward the kitchen, they'll simply shadow you. They might walk a few steps behind you, pause when you pause, even sit just outside the room you're in. It looks like they're not really trying to get your attention. They're just sort of being there. And according to Dr. Kristen Vitale, that is exactly what they're doing. According to something she wrote in Current Biology in 2019, cats display proximity-seeking behaviors toward attachment figures that are not necessarily linked to obtaining food or other resources. And that's yet another holder from kittenhood when they would follow their mothers around when it was exploration time. This is similar to kittens following their mothers during exploration. They're not always asking for milk or playtime or catnip or whatever bits, pieces, and treats you've got lying around. They just want to stay within a safe range of the person they associate with their childhood mom. The leaving the room test. It's important to know what your cat thinks and feels about you, even if sometimes the truth is upsetting to hear. And the upsetting, unfortunate truth of trying to be the perfect pet parent to a gorgeous, fluffy feline is, now and again, you might have to hear some things that will sting a little. How your cat reacts when you leave a room, especially unexpectedly, can reveal just how emotionally connected they are to you. Cats that view you primarily as a food provider might barely notice when you leave, unless it's around mealtime, of course. They're secure in their independence, or at least not invested in your movements outside of feeding times. But imprinted cats, they track your every step like they've got a crush on you. They might get up and follow you immediately, or if they stay put, they may still express their bond by calling out a soft meow or gentle chirp. Call me mad, but if you pay attention to the tone, it really feels like they're saying, "Hey, where are you going?" The licking and face rub ritual. Earlier we were talking about grooming your cat, and we touched upon what it means if things are the other way around, and it's your cat who grooms you. This one is huge. Dr. John Bradshaw writes in Cat Sense that allo-grooming, which is the fancy scientist word for when several cats all groom one another, and facial rubbing among cats are behaviors that reinforce social bonds, most commonly between related individuals or close companions. So if a cat licks your face or rubs their face against yours in a lovely, nuzzling way, they aren't just showing casual affection. It's a behavior that is, yet again, rooted in kitten-mother interactions. Now, a cat who is only interested because of the food you get them, they'll only initiate lick and rub mode occasionally, usually to mark territory, or as you can guess, solicit num-nums. But an imprinted cat will often rub specifically around your face or hands during quiet non-feeding moments. And this is because they are creating that mother-kitten allo-grooming experience from childhood. When they leave you alone. I want to describe two hypothetical cats, one ginger, one black. The color is irrelevant. I just want you to imagine two gorgeous cats. Imagine the ginger one is all over you, spending as much time as they can. Now, imagine the black one often swaggers out of the room, leaving you alone. Now, if I were to ask you which of these two hypothetical cats loves this hypothetical version of you the most, you'd pick the happy-go-lucky ginger boy and not the aloof black goth as he saunters off. But, courtesy of Dr. Bradshaw again, it's curveball o'clock. He points out that a securely attached cat does not need constant physical contact to maintain the bond. The attachment is expressed through calm confidence in the owner's presence. If your cat is willing to give you some space from time to time, happy even, they have definitely imprinted on you, and now you see them as less of a chef and more of a mother. Or at least a chef who is also a mother. This is reflective of the way kittens grow to become willing to give their birth mother space to rest or groom when needed. They check in, they stay near, but they also respect your downtime because they feel secure in the relationship. While there are, of course, shades of gray to how anyone perceives us, sometimes things are black and white. Sometimes you're either extra special to your cat or simply the person who knows how to open a fridge. If even one of the things I've talked about in this video is recognizable, it's time for congratulations. That's a good bond you've got there. In fact, they might express that by constantly checking on you, though it's only one of the reasons why they might, as you'll see in my next video. Why does your cat keep checking in on you?